Good afternoon, televiewers, and thanks for joining us in this edition of your favorite program, Facts and Realities of Education. Here in Facts and Realities of Education, we probe into educational issues, look at them and scrutinize them the way they appear. Here, we go for them so that we could give the society the education that they need. In today's edition of the program, we have a young teacher who is with us to talk about her life as a teacher, to talk about the profession itself. We have Miss Clarice Zewola. You are welcome, Miss.
Thank you so much, Mr. Venasius, for inviting me here today, and I'm so privileged to be with you here.
Thank you. Today we are talking about teaching as a vocation. We know this month, the month of October, is always set aside the day that the society celebrates the teacher. There's a day in this month that we call Teachers' Day. What is the significance of that day, Teachers' Day, for you?
I think Teachers' Day is a day set aside to valorize the importance of the teacher. It is usually celebrated on the 5th of October every year, and it is set aside to evaluate for teachers themselves, to evaluate their work as a vocation and to see the challenges they face and how they can ameliorate them.
What is the importance? How is this day to be handled by teachers?
I think it is a day to be handled with a lot of importance. Yes. Because it's very important to the teacher and to the nation as a whole. Because when you look at it critically, you realize that there's no successful person in this life that has not passed through a teacher. You see the president was taught by a teacher. You see the teacher himself being taught by a teacher. And I think it's a day that we need to uphold, as it has always been done in Cameroon, which is celebrated on the 5th of October every year.
Some of you teachers look at this day as a day to feast. Is that all about the day? Feasting, drinking, eating?
Actually, feasting is not all about the day, but I think it is part of the day, because teachers themselves, they feel proud being into that noble profession. They feel that a day set aside like that, which is once every year, they can also go out and feast with their fellow colleagues. Yes, but actually it is not a day for feasting, but feasting also accompany the day to make it to be in a grand style. So
what extra should teachers do besides that feasting? What is that extra aspect?
Besides that feasting, I think teachers need to evaluate themselves and to see their ups and downs, because in every profession there are always ups and downs. You cannot say a profession is smooth in every way. So in that case, they need to evaluate themselves also, see what they are able to do, because when they go out to the field to march, to showcase their talents, they also see people. When they see the students, even the deals that are there, they were being taught by them, they also feel proud and they feel privileged, and I think they celebrate it in that grandiose style before the feast alongside the day.
Okay, now let us get into something deeper now. What prompted you into this profession? The profession of a teacher. What made you opt for a teacher? Could you also be a nurse, a doctor? What caught your attention in this profession?
I love the teaching profession. That's the first thing. And like the saying goes, you never know what qualities you possess until somebody tells you. When I was in the secondary school, I realized that I'm a very eloquent speaker. I didn't know that until my friends told me. Whenever we sit in a group and we are discussing, someone would tell me, Clarice, the way you speak, you can be a very good teacher. But before then, I never loved to be a teacher. I've always said I want to be a journalist, and thank God I'm here doing part of it.
Yes.
Yes, but when I received those comments from many of my friends, I thought it was to become a teacher. That if they said so, it means that they had seen a quality in me that could make me to teach. And I also loved to pass across message, to let others who are not able to, who are less knowledgeable, to be able to attain knowledge. So in that case, whenever we sat in class, I give them tutorials and they understood. And I realized also that I was a very good speaker, and that made me to
Is it like you're like doing what others think that you can do, or you are doing what you are convinced that this is what I can do best? Because like others, like they initiated this idea in you to be a teacher. Is it like, are you living a life for others, or deep within you are you convinced that this is your profession?
I'm deep convinced that
Yes.
this is my profession.
Yes.
Like Thomas Merton said, a man knows he has found his vocation when he stopped thinking about how to live and starts living. I think I have
That's big
started
book.
living.
Yes.
I'm not more thinking on how to live, because I've found my vocation. And when you find your vocation, you start living. You don't think on how to live. If I had taken teaching as not as a vocation but as a profession, maybe I would say I cannot continue in the teaching field because of this or that. But because I have found it as a profession and I've started living, I've taken it as a vocation, and that's why I'm not searching elsewhere that maybe I can be a journalist, I can be a nurse or
A doctor, an engineer.
No. I've found it and I've started living.
When you are using big book, let's come down to the level of our viewers who are following us. What do you mean by as a vocation? That is our topic, teaching as a vocation. Now, what do you mean by teaching as a vocation?
A vocation is a call from the heart. So when you are called to do something, it means that it's something that it is like inevitable. You are called to do it. You have not come into it by chance, or you have not come into it to make a living. You have come to it, you have accepted the call from your heart, and you want to do a profession with some respect.
Is that the meaning of, when you started, you talked of, you loved the profession. Is that the meaning of the word, you loved the profession?
No, it's not. I love the profession.
Yes. So what is that? What do you mean by love the profession?
Because it is a vocation.
Okay.
I love it.
Yes.
Because when it is a vocation, it is from your heart that you do it. It is like a call that you have received. And when you receive that call, you do it irrespective of the challenges that you may face. You will not think of the challenges. You go in for a provocation where you have your job satisfaction. You will not think about the wages, because looking at it critically, if you are thinking of the wages, you'll be thinking of going in for something greater. But when you receive it as a call, as a vocation, you do it with all your heart, you do it wholeheartedly.
What is job satisfaction as a teacher? What is are you satisfied as a teacher?
I am satisfied as a teacher.
Yes.
But I'll still say to a lesser extent.
Yes.
Because you get your job satisfaction when you teach and your students understand you. When they understand, that's the best time, that's the best thing a teacher will do. And that's the time that a teacher will feel he has had his or her job satisfaction. But at times you realize that you don't actually have the job satisfaction, but because you have taken that job as a vocation, you have no choice than to strive to have the job satisfaction. When I say it is to a lesser extent, it is because some of us Anglophone teachers, when you are being sent to teach in a purely Francophone school, you face challenges, because when you are teaching a language, you don't need to use another language to teach a language, which means that in that case I cannot use French to teach English, and so I face difficulties trying to let them know. And a teacher will not be satisfied if you leave the class like this, knowing that your students have not understood anything.
Right.
So job satisfaction comes in when you teach, you ask questions, and you evaluate them, and you realize that what you thought they have understood, by writing it down, when you correct, you realize that they have passed. That's when you have your job satisfaction.
Now let's come back to something a bit personal now.
Okay.
Like you are like an Anglophone, as you say, and being teaching in a French zone. What are those difficulties that you experienced?
I can say it is not actually in the French zone only. Teaching nowadays is becoming more and more complex. This is because there is a decrease in the students' willingness to learn.
Yeah.
And you realize that students, they now disrespect, they are disobedient, and they care less about what the teacher says in class. So with all those things, you realize that you are facing a lot of challenges, because they don't have time for studies nowadays, and even when you are there in class, it does not matter to them. Even if you decide to punish, you punish and they will do what they have been doing. So there's a lot of challenges in the teaching field as a whole. And this is also because of the alternate sources of learning.
Come down to our level. What do you mean by alternate sources of learning?
Nowadays, you have the social media. It is not only for communication. Through the social media, students are able to get what they want. To the extent that before you even come to class, some of them already know what you are coming to teach. And to them, the teacher is less important.
So like it's a call to teachers to make sure that they prepare well before facing the students.
Actually.
What are some of those other difficulties again? Now we're talking of alternate means of teaching, yes. Yes, which are those other difficulties that you face?
I think generally, in Cameroon, we have an inclusive education. Which means that while you are in class, you have teachers, you have students that are visual learners. You have students that are audio learners. When you speak to them, they understand.
Okay.
There are some that if they are
please,
sitting right behind.
Let's not go deep, because when you go far, our viewers will not get to follow you. Can you like expatiate a bit on visual learners, audio learners? Yes. What are visual learners?
I think visual learners are students that learn by seeing. When they see what you are doing, they'll be able to learn better. And at times, if you go to class and you are about to explain, some will just sit there doing nothing, and they are not doing any effort to let you know that they don't understand. It's only when you have evaluated them that you realize that the students did not understand. Yes. And when we're talking of the audiovisual learners, there are those that listen. They listen very well before they understand. Which means that if a class is distracted in one way or the other, that student will not be able to learn, because he only listens before he or she can be able to understand. Yes. And there's also this other challenge faced by teachers. You have students in the same class that are from different backgrounds. And as a teacher, you are called to put those students together. We say that teaching is a noble profession. And when you say teaching is a noble profession, it involves everything with, let me say, ethics. Yes.
You are building the human being.
Yes.
Both intellectually and morally.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And in that case, you go to class, you have students that are from different backgrounds. And you know, a parent also is a teacher. But there are some parents that don't teach the children at home. The child does not know that he or she has to respect the teacher. And for you to, and as a teacher, you forget about the work of the parent. If the parent has failed to do so, you will be the one to do it. And to do that, you need time.
So like parents are shifting their responsibilities to teachers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in that case, you see, that's a great challenge to
when you talk of students coming from diverse backgrounds, yes, some who are francophones, you have to teach them in English. Is that another idea? That's
another idea. And some who are francophones that have taken the francophone background. That's the francophone system of education. Thank you. So when they come, there's a lot that they don't understand. And at times you do wonder how they manage to leave the other class from one class to another. That at this level, they are not able to spell well. They don't even know the letters of the alphabet. Like for example, you say a letter like B, and when they want to spell, they say B, which means that they are still speaking the French.
Or like they are reasoning in French and want to like write in English.
Yes. So that's actually a challenge to this noble profession.
Okay, when you call it noble profession, when you teachers call it noble profession, somebody made a comment that it is because of the economic crisis, the hardship that we have in the country, that we have an upsurge of teachers. That is, so many people get into teaching to make ends meet. Is that true? Is that assertion true?
To an extent, it is true.
Yes.
Because there are some people that, from the onset, they do say, I would like to become this. I would like to become a doctor. I would like to become. But because of the nature of our country, you realize that you will not be able to become that doctor. Because even with your qualifications, you still realize that you are not being selected for a particular, maybe an entrance examination, and you find yourself into the teaching field. In that case, it is a profession because you are just trying to earn a living. It is no more a vocation. And those people, I think, with some of the challenges, they may be tempted to go away.
Okay, you have touched a point here which I want that we make a kind of a distinction between teaching as a vocation and teaching as a profession. What is the difference?
The difference here is that when you are teaching, when you take teaching as a vocation, you do it wholeheartedly. Like I said earlier on, that a vocation is a call. When you take teaching as a vocation, you do it wholeheartedly, no matter the wages, no matter whatever challenge that comes your way, you never let go. But when you take it as a profession, it is, let me say, by chance that you have decided to go into that profession. You are just trying to earn a living. Yes, and maybe you estimated your salary to be from 70,000, and if you realize that in a school where you have been taken, you are being paid 50,000, 40,000, yes, which is the case.
And you are saying it's a reality.
Yes, some of them may be forced to flee to escape because that actually it is not a profession for them. Yes, they just want to earn a living and not actually a profession where they need just job satisfaction. Because when you are there as a vocation, what matters to someone that takes it as a vocation is that he is just a job satisfaction. When you are satisfied, no matter the wages, you are just there. You remain. But when you take it as a profession, I don't think those people, they don't care about the job satisfaction. What they care about, they don't even they teach impatiently. They are just waiting, counting days, waiting for the end of the month to receive something.
So, okay, are we like saying that these teachers who, like, we call them, they migrate from one school to the other? So can we like tag them like these are teachers who are teaching as a profession, not as a vocation? It's like...
Oh, yes, I would still say so.
Yes.
But still to a lesser extent.
Okay.
There are some of them, they actually move from one school to another because they have taken it as a profession. So they want to earn a living. And they realize that what they are giving me here, I may not be able to take care of myself and to take care of my family. Maybe a colleague must have told you about something that is going on about the salary in other schools. Yes. Now you decide that, okay, let me just move to the other school since the wage there is huge. Yes. That's why some of them, they move from one school to another. But I say to a lesser extent because there are some proprietors that don't treat their teachers well.
Go straight to the point.
And as a teacher, if you have taken it as a vocation, what you want is that your presence
derive that
should
satisfaction.
Be that's it.
Yes.
You need to derive that satisfaction. And for you to do that, like the theme of this year is telling us, the theme is teaching in freedom and empowering teachers. When they talk of empowering a teacher, it means giving somebody the right to do something. When you have given the teacher the right to do something, let that teacher do it. Give that teacher the privilege, let that teacher feel she is doing something that is helpful to the society as a whole. Don't treat a teacher as if the teacher... Some proprietors, they will talk to teachers, they will say, a teacher, you have come here, you are here because of my students. If my students are not here, you are not there. Forgetting that if you are not there also, the students will not be there. And the proprietor will go ahead, will go as far as telling the students, that if a teacher does something to you, you should leave the class. If the teacher is not teaching well, you leave the class. When you say that, you are bringing down the value of the teacher. You don't make the value of the teacher felt by the students. And that's the more reason why teachers face challenges in class. Like they go to class, students talk to teachers anyhow, and there's nothing you can do because their proprietors have given them the right to do that, and they don't make the teachers' presence felt by the students. And in that case, a teacher has to, some of them, they will have to leave from one school to another because they want a place where they will feel at home, where they will feel their work will be felt by the society.
So we like saying that some of these proprietors are more of a hindrance to teachers than helping them to achieve their goals.
Actually.
Then it brings me to puzzle, because if a proprietor owns the school, I would rather think that he would do all to make sure that the teachers are at ease, so as to give in their best. What should be the, at least from your own point of view, what should be the reason for that kind of proprietor behaving that way, like empowering the students, on the contrary, on the teacher?
I think such proprietors, they have simply opened a business center.
And not a school.
And not a school.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So what they want is their money. They know that if a teacher tries to caution the student, because some of the parents, they don't want their children to be cautioned, and I doubt why do you send them to school where you don't want the students to be cautioned. If I, the teacher, cannot put this child to order, then why have you sent the child to school? And now such parents, when they send their children to school, the proprietors, they know the parents already, and they know that if a teacher should talk to this child and the child leaves the school, the proprietor, is the loser.
Yes.
Yes. In that case, they try to.
So they do everything to safeguard the presence of the student to the detriment of the teacher.
Of the teachers, but not knowing that they are killing the students. Because a student, if a child is taught in Form 1 by a different teacher, in Form 2 by a different teacher, in Form 3, there's a problem. That child cannot excel well as if he were being taught by the same teacher. Yes. Because the way they need to draw the scheme of the school, when if a teacher teaches a child in Form 1, when you are preparing the timetable for the next academic year, make sure that teacher goes to Form 2 and a different teacher comes to Form 1. And the teacher will continue with the students right
until they graduate.
That's it.
Okay. Now, let us look at another burning point here, the issue of finance. How strong is the power of money to deter you from that your love for that profession which you call a vocation? How is money strong enough to like discourage you from this profession?
Money cannot discourage me.
Good.
If money could discourage me,
yes,
I would not have been there today.
Okay.
Even right now, as I'm sitting here, I was in a class.
Exactly.
And I left before coming here.
Yes.
So if money could do that, I don't think I would have been here today. Yes, because I've taken it as a profession, and no matter as a vocation, sorry.
Yes.
And no matter the little that is being given to me, I think I have my job satisfaction. I have landed. I have begun to live. I'm not still searching for a means to start a living.
Okay.
Yes.
These are rare cases, ladies and gentlemen. These are rare cases that we need to have teachers declaring that money means nothing to them. I hope that tomorrow you people are not going to come back with this same issue of salaries. And now, Miss, let's come back to another point. How do you handle these challenges how do you go about to make sure that these challenges do not swallow that zeal that you have for the teaching? How do you handle your challenges?
To handle these challenges, I think a teacher needs to be tolerant.
Tolerance, okay.
A teacher needs to endure, and a teacher needs to be patient. If you are not tolerant, that's when you are at times you sit in class when they are disturbing, when you have shouted, stop noise, stop noise, stop noise. If they can't, you need to give them some time. Give them some 30 seconds
to disturb. Yes.
You sit and look at them.
Is that pedagogically accepted?
It is not accepted.
Yes. Okay, but those are your ways of
trying
managing
to calm them down, because when they realize, when you stand quietly and you are looking at them, when they realize that you are focusing on them, they stop the noise.
Okay.
But when you keep shouting, they are busy doing one or two things. But when you keep quiet, that's when they realize that you are there. Because when you are talking, it's like you are disturbing also with them. And maybe they take the teacher's voice for a classmate's voice, I don't know.
Okay.
But when you just keep a minute of silence, they realize that you are focusing on them, they will be bound to stop making noise.
It's such a style, such an approach. Is it personal, or do you share it with some of your colleagues?
This one is personal, and I've just adopted it because at the moment I'm teaching in a francophone school, and the way they respond to the teaching learning process. It is not actually very good, especially with
No, very good. What do you mean?
it is not actually good.
Okay.
Especially with the target language, with the target subject like English that they don't know. They say, what's she saying? That's what they say in class. And with that, if you don't use such, if you don't develop new skills to handle them, you'll not be able to.
Now we are getting to the end of this program. What advice could you give to our listeners who are listening to us, who are junior ones, who want to become like you, to call teaching a vocation?
My advice to people out there and to those aspiring to become teachers is that they should take teaching as a vocation rather than a profession. Because if they are coming into the teaching field for money, there they won't find it. They need to be satisfied in their job rather than seek for money. Because if they are looking for money, they should go to businesses.
Thank you, Miss Gladys, for this time given for us to talk about this teaching as a profession. Ladies and gentlemen, what we are coming out from this discussion is teachers need what they call job satisfaction in order to adopt teaching as a vocation and not as a profession. Thanks for being there. We will be back again next week for another interesting topic on teaching. Have a blessed day.